Hi, this is related to that. I'm just gonna talk about what I learned today. So the I think I'm just gonna talk about the like like class versus the functions. Um, so the if you look at my code here, instead of like at the search part, instead of declare as a class, I use the function and I send it this. It's called this binding. So I call it this and I make it as like the just like manipulating the method like property in the class. But why do I have to make it like this? So actually this is kind of code that I got inspired from the React code, React Fiber. But that is I think but I was wondering why they do the same stuff, but I think that is because the performance. I think the performance of it. So what do you mean performance? Um, so I'm just gonna explain like how V8 engine works. For example, there's like the V8 is the JavaScript engine inside the Chrome. Let's say V8 engine. It's just let's say memory V8 memory. And a lot of people says that there's a stack and there's a heap. There's a heap. Okay, that's nice, but so since if the value is primitive like string numbers, boolean, those kind of thing, you go stack. But if it's not, you go to the like array or some kind of object goes to the heap. Okay, that's pretty fine, but the thing is that this is not really simple. There's more under the hood because heap, there's a lot of things in heap. Inside heap, there's a code as a it was like young generation, yeah. It was like young generations, young space, and old space. I think there's more. I think code space, yeah. I know there are a bunch of it, but let's say this thing kind of thing. So young space is basically there's a bunch of code here, and if some object is served from the GC, the garbage collector. Let's say if let's go, this is some kind of object. If this alive from the some kind of garbage collector, that means that it's gonna use it anyway in another file. So it goes to the old space. When the old space, and it's just like simple. It just you go young space. If it's allowed, you go to the old space, and the code space. What does do is there's like the code that frequently use it. Rather than we just parse it and we just compile it or interpret it. We make an optimization using JIT compiler. So which means that JavaScript is not really interpreter language. It's just the combination of the compiler and the interpreter. So inside it, there's a compiler which is compiles the frequently used code into some kind of binary format, and it puts it on the code space. So if it's the code that codes that are repetitive a lot and infrequently use it, I think it was called hot blah blah hot space, not hot space, hot code or those kind of thing. So based on that, you go code space. So that's really simple of it. So if you look at the class here, if class go to the heap, and also if you, also the V8, the Google V8 team says that the performance between class and function is really different. There's there's more some kind of like performance issue of the class. They are trying to fixing it, but still there's an issue of it. The reason why it's matter to think about like the size of the JavaScript is because JavaScript, if you look at the browser render process, there it's very single threaded. What JavaScript being evaluated is inside the render process, even rendering moment. And when it goes to some when it hits some kind of limit of the heap, the gist is gonna happen. When gist is gonna happen, it's just gonna block the main thread. So there's like here thread here. If it's just gonna happen, so it's gonna block this thread. So that's gonna be some kind of junk on it. Junk that. So that's why that's the reason why some kind of modern web game with authority makes your page junk is because of some kind of garbage collector or those kind of things. So this is it. Have a nice day. See you next time. Bye bye.